Hi guys, and welcome to another EV review. So what I have here today is a little bit older product. It's Schiit Magni 3 headphone amp. Just a few weeks ago it stopped being produced and it's replaced by Magni 3 Plus. But I bought this one at a really nice discount. I just couldn't resist. And the idea is to test, is there any reason to buy a separate headphone amp if you're having like a decent DAC amp combo, something like that? So I think it will serve for that purpose. But let's just quickly go through the basics here. In the front, you can see it's very simple. There is just a volume knob and headphone jack, 6.35 millimeters. Nothing else. In the back is where things get interesting. So first thing that you can see, very normal of course, is line input. This is where you connect your DAC. We of course have headphone output, but there is also a line out, which is a very nice and neat, because if you want to listen to your headphones, but you also want to use your DAC for your active speakers, integrated amp or something like that, you don't need to buy any splitters and things like that. You can just pass the signal through Magni 3 here, so you can conveniently connect both headphones and pair of active speakers, for example, on these line outs. Other than that, there are two switches, as you can see, power on and off and low gain, high gain. For me, low gain already had quite a lot of power, and I found it to be just a little bit more transparent, a little bit more neutral and realistic, so I sticked with it for the most of the time. Going to high gain, you get a little bit more grunt, slight warmth to the sound is added, so just choose it according to your headphones, according to your needs, but I preferred low gain a little bit. Okay, so let's get to the most important thing, which is sound and comparison with other similar devices. So I wanted to start it with really low budget devices, such as Dragonfly Black here and this great Lusya Fever DAC that I reviewed recently. It's really great for the price. And I used my Takstar headphones to test the differences. So interesting enough, I'll keep it short. And those are really easy to drive headphones. They don't require too much juice or energy or power, anything. Easy load. So if I connect them directly to Dragonfly or Lusya Fever DAC, they sound great already. Then I insert Schiit Magni 3. They again sound great. Maybe just a little bit more controlled, a little bit more transparent, but in general it's quite similar experience. In case of such low demanding headphones, I cannot see that buying Magni 3 is justified. You can spend like $200 for a decent DAC plus Magni 3, and headphones such as these will sound quite similar, just a tiny bit better than with one of these dongles. And that's why I moved this up a notch and used more demanding planar headphones instead. These are HiFiMAN. The marketing for them says that they're easy driven, but that's not really the truth. In reality, they're quite lazy and low in sensitivity, and they just compared same things again. I hooked these directly to Dragonfly and Lusya Fever, and then I listened. It sounded quite okay. There was enough power, in a sense of enough volume. I didn't lack any volume or anything. But when I connected Magni 3 into the loop, I definitely noticed, first of all, improved bass handling. Now, all of the bass lines immediately started to sound more firm and more focused. Going back to these, you definitely notice there is slight bloom and slight blur of the bass notes. The rhythm is not as good and as precise. Other than that, there was also more atmosphere, slightly bit more transparency, and more energy to some notes and some vocals. I'll explain that quickly. For example, if there is a really strong guitar string pull in the song, you hear that quite fine with these dongles, but you definitely hear more energy and more zest when these headphones are connected to Magni 3. Again, one of these two is serving as a DAC in that case, feeding Magni 3, which is feeding headphones. And sound improves. If I had to put a number on it, I would say maybe like 20-30% better than going straight to these. But still, I like the difference. It gave new sort of focus and life to the sound. Okay, so I guess you could say that was an easy win, comparing a decent headphone amp with a USB stick dongle. So I decided to move things up a notch again and see how Magni 3 actually compares with an integrated headphone amp from Burson Playmate. Now, Burson Playmate is a combo. It's a DAC/headphone amp. It's really good DAC. DAC section is great. I'm currently using it in my main system. So what I did is next, using Burson as a DAC, feeding Magni 3 here with its line output. So Burson as a DAC, Magni 3 as a headphone amp. And there was definitely some improvement over feeding Magni 3 with one of these. Sound became more detailed and a little bit more spacious. Everything sounded a little bit nicer. It's not by much, but you can definitely notice something. And I was a little bit surprised because the difference was not that huge. If I put these DACs and this DAC in my main system, I can hear very distinct difference. But with Magni 3, only a little bit. And to find out what's happening there, I compared Magni 3 with headphone output from Burson directly. And then I noticed that Burson Playmate is able to provide even more spacious sound, even more reverb that you can hear after each tone, and more details. But that's honestly to be expected because Burson here costs $400. While you can pair Magni 3 here, for example, with Modi 3 from Schiit for $200, which is twice cheaper. Or you can pair it with something really nice but also dirty cheap like Lusya DAC here, Lusya Fever DAC, and get really decent sound. And finally, a little bit more realistic comparison. If you compare Magni 3 with something that is price appropriate, for example, you buy something like Logg D10 or FX Audio X7, or let's say HiFi Zen DAC. Those are all great DACs and they have very decent headphone outputs. You can watch all of these reviews on my channel. But Magni 3 definitely has more power and more juice than any of these integrated amps. You may not notice any difference over an integrated solution if you're using it with easy-driven headphones like these are. But if you're actually using some more difficult to drive headphones like these HiFiMAN here, there is benefit from using decently powerful separate headphone amp. It's not huge and you definitely don't need it just for the purpose of getting high volume. All of these devices will get you loud enough. But this one will give you a little bit more of energy and bite to strings a little bit more control to baseline, a little bit firmer baselines than any integrated solution I heard so far. It's honestly up to you. There are great integrated solutions, DAC amp combos, that go for great prices. If you feel that's enough for you, those are perfect. And I like simplicity. I like one in all solution. You don't need additional RCA cable, you don't need more space. But if you are thinking about upgrading in the future to more demanding headphones, to heavier loads, then having something like this, just in case, just for a reserve, might be a really good idea. I know it's not a huge difference, but if you already buy headphones that are like $200, I suppose that you would like to hear something close to 100% of what they can offer and not like 85 or 90%. I was really suspicious. I didn't think that this really budget headphone amp will actually justify going separate, going DAC plus headphone amp. But it proved to be really nice. And it got me interested. In the future, I will try to test even more amps, like Atom and some other famous amps. But so far, I can tell you that if you are into demanding headphones, buying something like this really makes sense. And I can only suppose that the recently released Magni 3 Plus sounds even better. That you can actually currently buy. And that would be it. It looks like Schiit knows what it's doing. This is a really decent device with good build quality, good functionality, with headphones output, line output, so you can connect it to speakers too. And it sounds really great. And that would be all for today, guys. So thank you for watching, and if you haven't done that already, please click like or subscribe to help this channel grow. Also visit my website for more reviews with scores there, and see you next time. Have a nice day.